Good morning. Welcome to the Jennifer O'Brien Show. I am your host, Jennifer O'Brien. I am excited to have with me today Brenda. Brenda is a friend I just met recently, and she is a very passionate warrior. And she is just showing up, trying to make a difference. And she's got an incredible story. And I would just love for her to come on here today and just share her story. She is sitting next to her attorney. So obviously it's a juicy one. And, but yeah, she is out here just trying to make a difference. And unfortunately, she is now caught up in a legal battle. And I am just going to kind of turn it over to her and let her kind of share what's going on and where she's at today with everything. So good morning, Brenda.
Good
And
morning.
yeah, so
For
come
having
on, let's have the conversation.
Yeah. I guess it started over a year ago. The parents of Cherokee County School District have been trying to hold these school board members accountable for the materials that are in our schools.
Mm-hmm.
And they go from not just high school to middle school and elementary school. This is not just a high school thing. This is all the way down to our little ones. And there's been parents that have started a long time ago, even before I knew anything about it, that were already researching and finding things and going to these school board meetings and even standing, just a few at a time to speak up about, hey, this is not right. These things should not be in our schools. These assignments are inappropriate. They're not. They don't reflect Cherokee County values, and why are they there? And they need to be removed. And pretty much the school board has been deaf about everything.
Yeah.
I don't know of one thing that we have that they've helped, to listen to us and to take our instructions. I would say, because they work for us, so I
Yeah.
call it. They're
Yeah.
supposed to. We bring it to them, and they're supposed to say, hey, we hear you, and yeah, these should go. And they don't do that. They push back. They ignore, and it's just not okay. And so after I started hearing about a few more of those, it's probably a story that goes across the nation,
Yeah.
where parent tells another parent, which tells another parent, and all of a sudden there's 100 people now at the school board meetings. Some of them on their feet, some of them really upset, some of them more calm, but everybody there for the same reason, which is, hey, this stuff is not okay for our kids.
Right.
And as the school board members, you need to listen to us. We pay your paychecks, and you need to be listening to us.
Yeah.
You are servant.
Well,
You
and
are
you are an
our
educator.
servant.
Right. Right. So this is you're in the chair. You are a teacher, a substitute teacher in the school system. So you
Yeah.
also are working in the Cherokee County schools as a substitute teacher. So you are and you're
Yeah.
also a parent of a student who's also in the school system. So here you are showing
Yeah.
up, right, to represent. Not only are you a teacher, but you also have a student and you're a parent. You're showing up to say, hey, we don't like some of this, some of these books. And you're mentioning it. This is not just happening here. And let's mention Cherokee County. We are in Georgia. We are in the Bible Belt. It's a very conservative, what we thought was a very more conservative kind of county. And what's interesting is that you're now in a legal battle because of just bringing to the attention. So kind of tell us how that all kind of went
Well,
down for you.
I do truly believe that the majority of the parents in
Mhm.
Cherokee County are conservative.
Mhm.
And if they truly knew that what stuff was in these libraries,
Yeah.
they would be irate. The only reason I think that there's not more people there at these school board meetings is because they don't know, or they just can't believe it. They may have heard something here or there, but they just can't believe that, no, it couldn't be here. I've heard that. I've heard
Yeah.
people say, oh, they can't, this can't happen here. It's not happening here. Yes, it is. And the more that my group has researched,
Mm-hmm.
researching every single school in the district for
Mm-hmm.
these books, for these sexually explicit books. And some of them have pictures. I mean, it's downright pornography. They have pictures that would just make anyone blush.
Right.
Yet this school board just apparently it just goes right over their heads. Every single time that one of the parents comes up there and starts reading something, I keep
Mm-hmm.
looking at them, at their faces, to think, oh, their eyes are gonna they're gonna have to go up.
Mm-hmm.
Believe that this is
Hold on, you're cutting out just a little bit. Hey, we're back. We just got cut off there for a moment. So Brenda, you were just sharing just how things are going down at some of these school board meetings. So please continue.
I don't remember exactly what I was saying, but just pretty much that, the school board members seem to not listen to us. They have not
Mm-hmm.
taken our suggestions. They have not taken us seriously. We've come
Mm-hmm.
back month after month after month um, with more assignments that we thought were inappropriate, more
Mm-hmm.
books, more just inappropriate material, and we don't get hardly any feedback whatsoever, and it's so frustrating. And what happened with me was, after a year of
Mm-hmm.
going to these meetings and trying, to do it their way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, go through the appeals process, which is ridiculous. I'll tell you about that later. But submitting these books and everything, and it's meant to fail. It's just not meant to help us at all. And
Mm-hmm.
when after my friend Shell had read from the book Homecoming,
Mm-hmm.
um, she was shut down in the meeting, and stopped from talking about it from Miss Poole, because she said that it was inappropriate.
Yeah, right. And
She
that
was
video's gone viral, right? Like she was reading it and they're like, please don't read that. There's children. And she's like, That's the point. This is in our
exactly.
schools."
I
Right.
mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. The
Mm-hmm.
irony of it just blows my mind. And she says, Miss Poole says, paraphrasing, pretty much stop talking because children are could be listening.
Unbelievable.
Gotcha. We understand this. That's why we're here, right?
Right, right.
And after that, Cromer actually responded. I guess she's the chairperson. She responded to us, which hardly ever happens. They
Mm-hmm.
hardly ever respond to anything we say, but this time she chose to, right after Shell reading from this book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, and she says, paraphrasing again, that we don't have the right to take these materials out of the hands of other children. Again,
Wow.
the irony. It's,
Right.
what are you talking about? Are you
Yeah.
listening to yourself? You just
Right.
said children, which is absolutely correct.
Mm-hmm.
These shouldn't be in our schools, period.
Right.
They
Right.
they shouldn't be. And if they were anywhere outside of the libraries, and you gave these to these children, you would go to jail.
Right. Yeah.
It's and just their excuse of getting away with it because of some kind of loophole. I don't know what the name of it is, but this loophole that they're allowed to. First of all, they can implement that any way they want. They don't have to keep these in there. They're
Mm-hmm.
choosing to keep this material in the schools.
What
It's not a
and let's talk about that. Like, why so much resistance? Why? And these are the people supposed to be having the best interest of our children in Cherokee County. And this is not just Cherokee County, right? We see this. This is a
Yep.
nationwide issue, and it's moms like you showing up to stand against this evil. But why so resistant? Why all these? It always seems to be somebody else's problem. It always seems like they shift the blame. I mean, what? How can you
They
speak into
can't.
that?
They can't. The buck stops with them. they absolutely have the ability to listen to what we say, for them to get a conscience and say, wow, these parents are absolutely correct. There's no reason, there's no excuse for these materials to be in our schools. And,
Right.
they've given the excuse they can be educational. What?
Yeah.
You can literally say that about anything.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
such a weak argument. It's a ridiculous argument.
Right.
I'm sorry, you can find infinite books on practically any subject that
Right.
don't have the explicit content in them.
Yes. Yes.
So that doesn't fly. It just
Right.
doesn't fly.
Okay, we are back for the third time because they say third time's a charm. So anyway, hopefully we won't have any more interruptions, but this is the beauty of the virtual space that we are doing this interview in. So anyway, yes, so kind of you're just going through how the board doesn't even seem like they want to fix the problem. And if given these books to a child on the street, we all know what that would look like. You're basically grooming a child with the content that's in these books. And to me, it's the resistance that we're finding across our nation with these people that are in these positions that are supposed to be protecting children, and they're obviously not. And so here you are. You're showing up at this meeting. I'd like to hear kind of why you're sitting next to your lawyer today or your attorney as this is the situation.
So I guess I was starting to get into it, and I always go off tangent, but so what had happened was when the chairperson Cromer had started saying that she didn't believe that we had the right to take these away from other children.
Right.
I realized it just came to me like that, like a light bulb, that after every single meeting, all the research we've done, all the speeches, everything that we've done, she was responding and saying, we are not going to remove these books. She didn't say that, but I'm saying that's what I got out of what she said. She was responding to us saying, you don't have a right to take these out of the schools for the other children. And so we're not going to. That's what I heard her saying.
Yeah.
And my heart just leapt.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it. I felt like God just came out of my mouth. Like it was just a fire. I was heartbroken, frustrated, but just more heartbroken. Just like, this is not okay. This cannot continue.
Right.
And I just said what I felt was the truth, which was that every one of them should be arrested.
Right.
I believe it. I mean, from as much we've given them the opportunity.
Yes.
We've educated them. They can't claim that they didn't know.
Right.
So at this point, with her response, I just absolutely felt in my heart, every one of them should be arrested for what they're allowing in our schools. Right. And I spoke out. No, it wasn't my turn to speak, but I was in a public forum, which, we're allowed to speak. And
right.
And it just, came out. You know what? I'm not even sorry for it because they work for us. They're supposed to be listening to us. They weren't.
Right.
And it was very clear. And afterwards, I had so many parents come up to me and say, thank you for what you did. And you said what I was thinking. I've had so many parents say that to me. You spoke out and said what I was thinking at that moment.
Right.
So many of the parents just were going through the same exact thing that I thought, which was, oh my gosh, she's saying they are not going to do anything about this.
Right.
So I've had so many other parents come up to me and just rally behind me and just say, this is not okay. This is not okay what's happening. So what happened was after I spoke up, one of the other members motioned to the police officers there to remove me. And so they came over. There were 3 of them. 2 of them stood in front of me, and one of them was hovering over my shoulder, which was completely uncomfortable. You know, I'm a little 5'2" nothing here, and I got 3 male cops standing around me, one hovering over me. It was completely ridiculous.
Right.
And you know, I was not disruptive. I was quietly speaking to them. I was trying to, you know, appeal to their conscience. I told them, you know, they work for us. This is not okay. Are you listening to what we're talking about in these meetings?
Right.
You know, this is not okay. And you want me to leave? Like, you know, I'm just trying to appeal to them.
Right.
And after a few minutes, you know, they're like, well, we need to go out into the air, you know, to the, I guess, area outside the doors and discuss this. And after a few minutes, I'm like, okay. But as I have video of this, you know, where they're standing around me and everything, and they're just going on with the meeting. You can hear them going on with the meeting. So I'm clearly so disruptive that they had to stop the meeting and wait for me to be removed. No.
Okay.
So they're going on with the meeting while I'm sitting here trying to talk to the police officers. Finally, I'm like, okay, after a few minutes, okay, we'll go.
Right.
We'll go outside, and then they asked for my license, and I said, what for? And they said, because we're going to issue a criminal trespassing warning. And I was like, first of all, I'm not giving you my license because I'm not a criminal. And secondly, I'm not trespassing. You let me in the building.
Right. Right.
So,
that's a public building.
No.
It's a public building that we pay taxes for. Like, that's our building.
And I tried to go through that with them. You know, they gave the stock answer of, we're just doing our job. And I'm like, no. Pretty much your oath to office is to the Constitution.
Yeah.
You did not take an oath to those school board members.
Right.
And I told them, I had this conversation with all of them. They didn't care. Their answer was, we're just doing our job. We don't take a side. Oh, really? Because you're taking a side by escorting me out of the building and issuing me a criminal trespassing warning. That is taking a side.
So let's put this into a little bit of perspective. Under Georgia law, if you give the kinds of obscene materials to an immature child, that the board is maintaining that they have the prerogative to leave in these children's libraries, you give that to a child, you can be charged with a criminal felony for handing that to a child.
Yeah.
And they're taking this position that, well, because it's in our school library and it has some possibly redeeming value, we don't think you should have the right to take that away from other children. Ignoring the fact that that is completely undercutting all of the other parents' rights to protect their own children. Yes. And this argument amounts to illustrate the absurdity of this argument. Just consider that this is the argument that I may have made to my parents in my youth, that the Playboy magazine that I was reading had merit because it had articles in it.
The articles.
In it. So therefore, I wasn't reading it because of photographs of naked women in it. I was only looking at it because of these articles. That's the argument that this school board was trying to make to these parents.
Unbelievable.
And it was these circumstances that Danielle blurts out a very understandable response that any parent might have had, that these people ought to be arrested for what they're exposing these children to, and they're up here arguing that the parents don't have the right to protect them.
Yeah. Yeah.
My middle name's Danielle. That's why he calls me Danielle.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I get it all the time. Brenda,
let's put it all out there. No, so it's true. It's like, here's a glass of water. Now, listen, there's poison in it, but enjoy the water part of this drink. But there is poison in it. And it's like, but it's supposed to be okay. It's like unbelievable. It almost feels. Go ahead.
This is where we're going. Like what he just said about the Playboy magazines. That's where we're going if we don't stop this.
Yeah, this
is where we already are. There are already pornographic pictures and explicit material in our schools. We already are there. Right. I'm just saying, it only gets worse.
Right.
We see this, the agenda, it only ever gets worse.
Right.
First it was, I'm sure they started it in the colleges or whatever, they kind of have certain things there where it's like, oh, well, they're adults now. They can be,
yes.
It's
time for us to expand their minds. We've got to away from their parents.
I hear some people try to say, oh, well, it's just in the high schools. Well, it's just in the high schools. No, that's where they started. Mm-hmm. Now it's middle school. Mm-hmm. And now we've actually found them in elementary schools.
Wow.
Blows
crazy.
Mind. So, and that's where we're going unless we stop it. We have to stop it.
Yes.
So rather than deal with the argument, rather than listen to the parents and engage with them, the board's response is to turn around and attack the people that are raising these criticisms. In Brenda's case, she had 3, as she said, large police officers descend upon her after they were gestured to her by board members. Mm-hmm. They surround her. They cage her in the public speaking room.
Right.
And start working on her. Eventually, they get her to get up and go out of the meeting room. Mm-hmm. And at which point, they proceed to issue her this criminal trespass warrant. And it does not simply prohibit her from being in that room.
Yeah.
Which one might think, if they had a legitimate reason for this, then maybe it limits them. No, what they did was to limit her that she cannot set foot on a single piece of school district property.
Right.
She is a substitute teacher, and she's a parent with children in the schools. This immediately means she can't go to her children's events. Mm-hmm. It means she can't go to her job.
Yeah.
Which coincidentally were immediately all of her pre-scheduled assignments were immediately removed
the next day.
So what they've done is taken away her rights as a parent. They've taken her away her fundamental rights as an American citizen, and they've taken away her employment, all because of the content of the message that she was telling them, that she felt that the materials that they were knowingly exposing these children to, could be the same kind of materials for which someone could be arrested.
Wow. I mean, it blows my mind what they've gotten away with. And, to me, what's the hope? Here's Brenda doing everything the right way. For an entire year, she's educating, she's showing up, she's doing everything by the book, so to speak.
Yep.
And here she is now in a lawsuit, trying to get her rights back as a parent, as a teacher. Is there a redemption in this story? I mean, what as tax-paying citizens across our nation, what can we help, people that are waking up to this? How can we change this trajectory of them grooming our children with these books? I mean, how do we, as parents, as citizens, as taxpayers, what do we do? Because we see somebody who has the guts to say what everybody else is thinking, and now she doesn't have a job and she can't go be with her children at school events. I mean, it's just.
Well, to be clear, I have to say that I was able to go to my daughter's event. Okay. It felt ridiculous that my attorney had to ask for permission for my right to go to my own daughter's event. They did allow me to, but it shouldn't have been taken away in the first place. It's not okay. So I just wanted to make sure that they can't come back and try to say, oh, no, that's not.
But they have not given her job back.
No.
She's still out of work.
Yeah.
And you still can't show up at no more board meetings for you.
No, and that's unacceptable as well.
Right.
I'm not giving up on that as well. It is my right to be there.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is not okay. And I'm not going away. They picked on the wrong mama bear.
Come on.
Clearly. And they should have known that.
Yeah.
You've seen me there so many times. I'm the one that, I guess spoke out of turn or whatever. For them to, I don't know. I don't know. They picked on the wrong mama bear, I guess.
Come on.
It's not right.
And the actions are so clearly excessive.
Yeah.
Again, to put this into context, she was in a forum which was designed to receive input from parents about what's going on in the Cherokee County School District schools.
Right.
That's what she was there to address. Imagine, if you will, another similar forum, the U.S. Congress. A congressman gets up out of turn and proceeds to talk. And imagine the speaker sending the police, the Capitol Police, to seize that congressman, to take him outside, and to forbid him from coming back into the Congress. That is what has happened here. It is so very clearly excessive. It is so very clearly unconstitutional.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, part of me is like, we need a new board.
Absolutely.
We got to get rid of these people sitting there between us and the, these children. So that's all I can think of. I mean, unless I'm not seeing this any different, I think we have to get rid of these people that have holding these positions and not doing a thing about the privilege it is to be in that position.
Well, our Constitution says that we can reform, abolish our government as we see fit, anytime we see fit. Personally, I think that says that we don't have to wait until their terms are up or during elections. If they're doing something unconstitutional, which they are, they need to go.
Right.
Cromer and Hightower are supposed to not be up for a while. I don't even think Hightower, I think that's a appointed position or something, but Cromer's there for 2024. She has no business being anywhere near our kids' education.
Right.
Clearly. So, we want to flip the board though. It's got to be done. Parents have got to wake up and start listening. When other people, when they hear things that there's stuff in our schools, they got to stop putting their head in the sand and saying, no, it's not happening here.
Yeah.
No, they've got to stop doing that. The more of us there are, the more this will go faster and faster. And it's going to be a snowball. It's got to change.
Yeah.
Pendulum has to come around the other way.
Oh, it has to.
And we're way up here and we're going back the other way now. It's time to go back. And I wanted to let you know the review process for the books is completely broken. It's an insult to concerned parents. It's absolutely an insult. They put together a committee of teachers, parents, I think it was parents and a student. I don't remember exactly who's all in it, but it's 20 or 21 people. And they go and they buy the books with our taxpayer money, right? They buy the books so that everybody can read them.
Okay.
Then if only one person says that it needs to stay, it stays. So I'm sorry, if you have one person that's going to read every single book and just say,
that's all. So there's no debate. There's no
go anywhere.
So if there's one yay and 20 nays, the book goes. Okay.
How ridiculous is that? It's not even majority. That's clearly set up to fail.
Yeah.
That's clearly set up so that none of the books are removed. It's an insult.
Yeah.
And yet that's where they keep directing us to do. No. We're not playing by their rules anymore.
No. Well,
they're stacked against us. It's clear.
It is. It's true. It's true. It's all been stacked so long. And I think people are waking up like never before. We've seen all the corruption these last 2 years have brought in our nation. And it's so sad. And unfortunately, moms like you are now called domestic terrorists. And you're like, oh, this is just a mom who doesn't want pornography in the school system. And then,
how dare I?
Oh, how dare you? It's so sad, but it's so real. And I am encouraged. I've been encouraged to hear your story, to call you my friend, to know somebody is showing up, somebody's educating, and somebody's going to bat. So anybody that hears this, I mean, how would you encourage moms, or just not even moms, dads, anybody?
I'm not by myself. I am not by myself, which is awesome. I have so many friends, dear friends that have become family to me the past year. I mean, I love them like family. They love me like family. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's like going into war, and I'm sure veterans would be like, whoa, this is not like war. But I'm saying in the trenches, we're all down there together and fighting this evil together. And it's incredible. And it's a beautiful thing, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't have very many friends before, just as an adult. And now I have so many, I can't keep up with them all. And I've met you now. I mean, it's really great. But people, they need to wake up. They need to stop putting their head in the sands. The ones that have heard about it, they've got to stand up. It's only going to get worse. We need the numbers, and it's got to change. We've got to fix it. We've got to fix it with changing the school board members, with changing that loophole. We've got to get that out. We've got to go to our legislators, and they have to close that loophole.
Right.
If that wasn't there, this would be a non-issue.
Right. Seems like we got a lot of loopholes in the system these days.
And even so, remember though, even with that loophole, these school board members are complicit.
Yeah.
They have every opportunity to take them out.
Yeah.
They are refusing to take them out. So
yeah, it's a real battle, and it's obviously costing you quite a bit. What does it look like for your future? I mean, is this going to move quickly, or is this something that's going to, what does that look like for you all here?
Have no idea. Okay. We're going to play it by ear. We have to play it by ear and see what they do. All I know is I'm not going away.
Yeah.
None of my friends, we're not going away.
Good.
There
was a board meeting a couple weeks ago, and you literally were right outside. So
I was going to tell you about that. So what I did was I stood outside, on the other side of the property. By the way, they brought in something like 15 police officers. Yeah, it was comical. Ridiculous. We were laughing. It was so clear. I mean, why are they afraid of me? Because I speak truth?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Because I point fingers and I say, you can't do this. This is not okay what you're doing.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But so they brought in extra police officers for that day, and I stood up with a sign that said that I was removed. I can't remember exactly what it said. Something about I was removed, banned, silenced, and fired by the school board.
Yeah.
And I had friends out there too that had signs saying, there's no excuse for pornography in our schools.
Yeah.
No excuse. I don't care if it's educational. There's no excuse. There's plenty of other books out there. It's ridiculous. So what I was going to say was that I had people come by and stop and ask what is the situation? Why are you standing out here?
Right.
I was able to meet another family that had children, and another mom that had children, and they were horrified. I just told them everything that was going on, and now I have their numbers, and I'm able to give them information and get them on board. Oh yeah, there I am.
And there's your. I have been ejected, silenced, fired, and banned by this school board.
Yep.
And that was you standing out front. Yep. Amen.
But by standing out there with those signs, I reached 2 more families.
Amen.
That now know what's going on. So that's gonna be an every month thing.
Yeah.
And I think that the numbers will grow.
Right.
And this is gonna go our way. It has to. God is on our side. We're on God's side, so God is on our side. And there's just 2 more things I wanted to say. At the very least of, they want to say we're banning books. We want to remove the pornography out of our schools, of course, right? And at the very least, they need to be put somewhere else in a little section that only the children that have parental consent can have access to them. That would be the very least that the school board could do, and so easily done.
Right.
If they won't do that, I mean, we already know. But if they don't do that after we give this kind of solution,
right. Yeah.
No redeeming qualities for these school board members whatsoever. And I'm going to challenge the board right now.
Mm-hmm.
I want to challenge the board to put out an email to all CCSD parents, okay, with some of the excerpts from some of the books that we brought to their attention.
Mm-hmm.
Put it in an email, right?
Mm-hmm.
And poll those parents.
Yeah.
Ask them if they think it's okay.
Right.
To have those in our schools. They won't do it.
Yeah.
There's no way they'll do it. Yet they'll put them in there for our kids, and they have no idea what's going on. These parents have no idea. There's only a very small amount that know exactly what's going on. But they won't poll those parents, and they know exactly why.
Right.
Because there'd be 1,000 parents outside all these schools the next day.
So it's almost like, why, what benefit is it for them to bring in these books that are just destroying, one of the problems of destroying and sexualizing our children? What benefit? I mean, are these people so evil and corrupt? I mean, I don't understand why anybody in their right mind would continue to allow such evil to just exist. And you just said it. If more parents understood what is accessible to their children on any given day they go to that school library, they would be appalled, and yet somehow, as parents like you show up week after week, month after month, trying to fix this problem, nothing, deaf ears. So
it's just taking time to wake everybody up and to get more parents to understand, just like I just reached to more. Yes, just by being out there with those signs. They didn't know beforehand.
Right.
One of the parents that I met, actually, her child was in the back seat, rolled down the window and talked to me, and goes to Teasley Middle School, and says that she was very upset, and she said that the surveys that they give them ask them about her sexual, performance, her sexual, I guess,
preference.
Anything sexual, period. I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was a question about, something sexual. And she was very uncomfortable. It really bothered her. And this is Teasley Middle School. They have no right. They have no right being in our kids' heads about this stuff.
They don't. And this needs to wake up parents. Just because you think you're in a conservative area, or you think you're in this evil has infiltrated every part of our school system. So don't let that be your excuse to not wake up and pay attention.
No. And we have to remember, it's only going to get worse. This has taken time to get where it has.
Yeah.
And now we are here.
Yeah. Right.
But when people don't stand up, it only gets worse. That's so clear.
Well, I know, I appreciate you standing up, and I know a lot of moms and parents and families out there also appreciate moms like you showing up, going to bat for the team. So what does your future look like? I mean, you basically are not, your livelihood has been stripped away. I mean, how are you financially supporting yourself right now in this time?
It's difficult, especially with all this inflation and everything. We are buying less groceries. Not buying, not taking drives like we used to because, the gas is so high. I mean, we're just pinching pennies. You just have to do what you got to do. Yeah.
Well, I wish you the best of luck, and I would like to continue to have you on again, as your story progresses, and prayers for you to have a victory over the madness that you've endured. And so if there's a message that you could just give out there to people that are waking up, I mean, what would you suggest people do that would hear this and say, okay, tell me what to do?
Once you're awake, wake other people up.
Yeah.
Get your hands on some of the material, because a lot of people don't want to, when you tell them, it doesn't mean anything. Once you show them.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Like some of the pictures in some of those books.
Maybe we could put some links. I know you've sent me some stuff.
Holy mackerel, what is going on?
I can't
believe.
What
world are we living in that we're even having to discuss this? So You wake up other people. It's uncomfortable.
Yes.
It is. And then you meet, you have some that just don't want to deal with it.
That's okay. Maybe it's not the
just
battle.
have to go, okay.
Yeah.
I'll deal with it for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And you made a point. You find your people because you're not alone. And like you said, you've got a great support system right now. And I believe that gives people courage when they know somebody's got their back and they're not alone in this battle. Find your people that can come alongside and support you, because it's honestly, like you said, I don't think the battle's far from over, but I think we can get things to go back. And it's just going to take people like you who have the courage to stand and speak for those. It's biblical. The Bible says, speak for those who can't speak up for themselves. I mean, what you're doing is what God would have us do. Where you're going to bat for those that maybe their parents are single moms or working, or they're just not at a place to be able to wake up and come at this battle. So a lot of encouragement, and I have a lot of respect for you. And for those that can show up in this hour and go to bat, go to war. You are a warrior. I mean, it's a different battle. Maybe you're not, fighting overseas or fighting in an actual battle with ammo and all, but this is a true battle. And I have a lot of respect for those courageous people that step into it and hold to it. And you've taken some hits, and I hope your story will be one of redemption and will wake some people up. I know when you were out there a couple weeks ago, I think the Atlanta Journal-Constitution came out to take some pictures. I don't know if
they
that
took
went
a picture,
anywhere.
But they didn't interview, so I don't know what came out of that. I don't think anything.
Yeah, so that's okay. We've learned now we don't wait on mainstream media to get the stories out. We're the media, and we got to get out there and take matters into our own hands. So anyway, I thank you again for coming on. And
we got to flip the school board.
What's that?
Everybody needs to flip the school board. They need to go find out which precinct or district they're in.
Yeah.
Find out if they can vote on to get a new school board member in. You need all these votes. forcanddomore.com is where we have our school board members that we're backing. Mm-hmm. That's the first place to go. Okay. Wake other people up and please encourage them to vote. Yeah. Got to get them out.
Yeah. And primaries are coming up here.
One school at a time.
One school at a time. Okay. One school at a time. Well, thank you so much. And I'd like to put some links to some of these things that we discussed today so people can kind of,
sure, I can send them to you.
Do some work here. But yeah, so thank you so much.
Warning on it for explicit material.
Yeah, we'll definitely put a warning up. But yeah, some of the stuff that I've seen, you just can't even believe it. It's there's no other word to use, but it's pornography. That's all I can call it because it's filthy. And
the Bible says that in the end days that they will turn it around. Good will be bad, and bad will be good.
Yep, and we're seeing it before our very eyes. So
I don't know that we're at the end times, but I know that we're definitely closer.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? It's as hard as it is to see this evil. What a great time to be alive for believers. Because if we were ever wondering where the battle was, or is it real? It's real. It's on.
Oh my gosh.
And, kind of find where you can fill in those gaps and stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves. So thank you, Brenda. And Dave, it's David, right?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you both for coming on and letting your story be heard. And I just hope it goes out and encourages some other people to wake up and roll up the sleeves. Let's get to work. Plenty of work to be done. So, all right. Thank you guys.
Gotta protect these kids.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. All right. We'll have to do a follow-up when we know more's come out of your story. Thank you.
There will be more.
Okay.
I believe
Thank you, Jennifer.